Your strength is killing you. Why softness is the most radical thing you can do. Good afternoon. I want to start by telling you about someone who is quietly reshaping the conversation around what it means to be strong, what it costs to survive, and what it takes to finally, unapologetically choose yourself. Their name is Nakia Nash. Nakia is not just a voice in the noise, they are a truth teller, a healer, a disruptor. They are someone who has walked through the fire of loneliness, mistrust, betrayal, and the crushing weight of being the one everyone leans on. And they have come out the other side with a message that is both devastatingly tender and fiercely revolutionary. Nakia is helping women, especially Black women, understand that softness is not surrender, it is strategy, it is survival. It is the most courageous, most subversive, most life saving thing you can do when the world has taught you that your worth is measured by how much weight you can carry without breaking. And today I want to share what I learned from Nakia Nash. I want to challenge an idea that many of us have been taught to believe without question, an idea that is so deeply embedded in our culture, in our families, in our workplaces, in our own minds, that we do not even recognize it as a lie anymore. That idea is this: that rest, boundaries, and softness are luxuries you earn after you have proven yourself. That you must grind first, sacrifice first, overextend first, bleed first, and maybe, just maybe, if you are lucky, if you work hard enough, if you suffer enough, you will get to rest later. But here's the truth that Nakia Nash helped me see more clearly, more urgently, more painfully than I ever have before. Softness is not the absence of strength. It is the decision to stop living in survival mode and start building a life that can actually sustain you. For Black women and entrepreneurs, that means boundaries, rest, and support are not signs of weakness. They are tools for clarity, consistency, and long term success. They are not optional. They are not bonuses. They are not rewards for good behavior. They are the foundation that makes everything else possible. Let me say that again because it goes against everything we have been taught. Boundaries, rest, and support are not rewards for hard work. They are the foundation that makes hard work possible without destroying you in the process. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, but I do not have time to rest. I have a business to run. I have a family to take care of. I have people depending on me. I have bills to pay. I have goals to hit. I have a reputation to protect. And if I slow down even for a moment, everything will fall apart. I hear you. And I want you to know that what you are feeling is real. The pressure is real. The exhaustion is real. The fear is real. But I also want you to consider this. What if the reason everything feels like it is always on the verge of falling apart is because you have been holding it together with your bare hands for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to build something that does not require you to break yourself to keep it standing? What if the system you are trying so hard to maintain was never designed to sustain you in the first place? What if your strength, the very thing you have been praised for, rewarded for, relied on for, is actually the thing that is slowly killing you? Let me tell you what I learned from my conversation with Nakia Nash. They shared with me that they grew up without a healthy model for love. They were pushed into people pleasing, avoiding confrontation to stay safe, and carrying the burden of being the reliable one while not being properly cared for in return. They learned early that speaking up was a problem, that taking up space was a problem, that having needs was a problem. So they made themselves small, they made themselves quiet, they made themselves useful, and they carried that pattern into adulthood, into relationships, into work, into every corner of their life. And here's what happened: they became exhausted, they became lonely, they became distrustful, they became someone who checked on everyone else but had no one checking on them. They became someone who gave and gave and gave and received nothing in return. And they realized finally that this was not strength, this was survival. And survival is not the same thing as living. Nakia Nash told me something that I have not been able to stop thinking about. They said that healing often begins when someone names the loneliness, the distrust, and the cost of being strong for too long. And I think that is where we have to start. We have to name it. We have to say it out loud. We have to stop pretending that we are fine when we are not. We have to stop pretending that we do not need help when we do. We have to stop pretending that rest is optional when it is not. Because here is what the research shows: when softness is grounded in boundaries, rest, and community support, it functions as a business strategy and a wealth building tool, not a luxury. Let me repeat that. Softness, when practiced intentionally, is a business strategy. It is a wealth building tool. It is not something you do when you have time. It is something you do so that you have time, so that you have clarity, so that you have energy, so that you have a life worth living. There is a powerful conversation that happened on a podcast called Softness as Sustainable Success. Leanne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, sat down to discuss how redefining softness can help Black professionals and entrepreneurs build more sustainable success. The conversation centered around insights from Charmaine Green, and the focus was on leadership, wealth, and healing. The core challenge identified in that episode was the cultural pressure to equate constant grind, overextension, and emotional armor with success. And the solution proposed was simple but radical: boundaries, rest, and community support as intentional practices that protect energy and improve outcomes. The episode emphasized that intentional rest, mental health practices, and nervous system regulation can improve decision making, reduce costly mistakes, and extend an entrepreneur's runway. And it offered concrete examples of practice: saying no to one misaligned opportunity, scheduling rest or therapy as non negotiable, reaching out to a trusted peer or mentor instead of pushing through alone. This is not theory. This is not feel good fluff. This is strategy. This is survival. This is the difference between building something that lasts and burning out before you ever see the finish line. Now, I want to be clear about something. This is not about being lazy. This is not about lowering your standards. This is not about giving up on your goals. This is about recognizing that the way you have been taught to pursue your goals is unsustainable. It is about recognizing that the hustle culture that tells you to work harder, sleep less, and push through pain is not a blueprint for success. It is a blueprint for burnout. It is a blueprint for broken relationships. It is a blueprint for a life that looks good on paper but feels empty in your body. And burnout does not just hurt you, it hurts your business, it hurts your relationships, it hurts your health, it hurts your ability to make good decisions, it hurts your ability to show up as the leader, the partner, the parent, the friend that you want to be. So, let me share with you the three key takeaways that I took away from my conversation with Nakia Nash. First, you do not have to earn rest, care, or softness. They are necessary inputs for emotional stability, healthy leadership, and sustainable achievement. You do not earn them, you need them. Just like you need food, just like you need water, just like you need air. Rest is not a reward, it is a requirement. It is not a luxury, it is a necessity. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can stop running yourself into the ground. Second, boundaries are not rejection, they are self respect in action. Saying no to misaligned people, roles, or opportunities protects your energy and makes room for relationships and work that reciprocate your effort. Every time you say yes to something that does not serve you, you are saying no to something that does. Every time you say yes to someone who does not respect you, you are saying no to someone who would. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, they are about letting the right people in. They are about protecting your peace, they are about honoring your worth. Third, healing changes how you lead, love, and receive support. When you stop shrinking yourself for others, you create room for healthier relationships, clearer decisions, and a stronger sense of self worth. Healing is not just about feeling better, it is about functioning better. It is about leading better. It is about loving better. It is about living better. It is about showing up as the fullest, truest, most authentic version of yourself, not the version that everyone else needs you to be. Now, let me tell you about another conversation that reinforces this message. In an episode titled, You Don't Need Permission, Coach Danny D and Nakia Nash discussed community, self care, and an upcoming move with travel and personal transition as part of the context. The challenge they identified was the pressure to wait for approval or permission before making life decisions or prioritizing personal well being. And the solution they emphasized was self care, community support, and acting without waiting for external validation. The message was clear. You do not need permission to take care of yourself. You do not need permission to set boundaries. You do not need permission to rest. You do not need permission to choose yourself. And yet, so many of us are waiting for it. We are waiting for someone to tell us it is okay. We are waiting for someone to give us permission. We are waiting for the right time. We are waiting for the perfect moment. And while we are waiting, we are burning out. While we are waiting, we are disappearing. While we are waiting, we are dying inside. So here's what I want to ask you. What would change in your life if you stopped asking for permission to take up space, receive love, and protect your peace, and started treating those things as non negotiable? What would change if you stopped waiting for someone to tell you that you deserve rest and you just rested? What would change if you stopped waiting for someone to tell you that your boundaries are valid and you just set them? What would change if you stopped waiting for someone to tell you that you are enough and you just believed it? I think what would change is everything. I think what would change is that you would stop running yourself into the ground. I think what would change is that you would start making better decisions. I think what would change is that you would start building a life that does not require you to sacrifice your health, your peace, your joy, your sanity just to keep it going. And I think what would change is that you would start to see softness, not as weakness, but as wisdom, not as surrender, but as strategy, not as the absence of strength, but as the presence of self respect. Because here's the thing, strength is not about how much you can carry. Strength is about knowing when to put it down. Strength is not about how long you can go without rest. Strength is about knowing when to stop. Strength is not about how much you can endure. Strength is about knowing what you will no longer tolerate. And softness, real softness, is not about being weak. It is about being wise enough to know that You cannot pour from an empty cup. It is about being brave enough to say no when everyone expects you to say yes. It is about being strong enough to ask for help when you need it. It is about being courageous enough to rest when the world tells you to keep going. So here is my challenge to you. I want you to think about one thing in your life right now that you are doing out of obligation, out of guilt, out of fear, out of the belief that you have to earn the right to take care of yourself. And I want you to ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped? What would happen if I said no? What would happen if I rested? What would happen if I set a boundary? And I want you to really sit with that question because I think what you will find is that the thing you are most afraid of, the thing falling apart, the people being disappointed, the opportunities disappearing, is not as scary as the thing that is already happening, which is you disappearing, you burning out, you losing yourself. Nakia Nash is helping women reclaim their lives by teaching them that softness is not the absence of strength. It is the decision to stop living in survival mode and start building a life that can actually sustain you. And I think that is a message that all of us need to hear, especially those of us who have been taught that our worth is measured by how much we can endure. So let me leave you with this. You do not have to earn rest, care, or softness. They are necessary inputs for emotional stability, healthy leadership, and sustainable achievement. Boundaries are not rejection, they are self respect in action. And healing changes how you lead, love, and receive support. But none of that matters if you do not act. So here is what I want you to do today, right now, before you leave this room, before you go back to your life, before you convince yourself that you will do it later. I want you to make one decision, one boundary you will set, one person you will say no to, one obligation you will release, one moment of rest you will claim. Just one. Because that one decision, that one act of self respect, that one moment of softness is the beginning of everything. It is the beginning of a life that does not require you to sacrifice yourself to sustain it. It is the beginning of relationships that honor you, not drain you. It is the beginning of work that fulfills you, not destroys you. It is the beginning of a version of yourself that you have been waiting your whole life to meet. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Save yourself. Choose softness. Choose rest. Choose you because your strength has carried you this far. But softness, real softness, will carry you home. Thank you.